Okay. Hmm. Trying again to go live, and the camera seems to work now, which is an improvement, but hi, can you hear me guys this time? The camera works this time, so that's better. Ah, okay, excellent. I don't know why scheduled live didn't work. I know nothing about YouTube Live, and apparently I will figure that out in the future. Thank you so much for your patience and for hopping on over to this other live. And again, I will hopefully figure it out in the future. Okay, so um, I have two paper pads from Park Lane. There's the Golden Hour and the Boo paper pad. And now that I know that it's working, I'll start showing you the paper pads, and then you guys can let me know which one you'd rather see me work with today. So these have like a bit of a shine to them. I'm kind of curious how well they stamp. They're double-sided, 6x8. This one has the like gold foiling to it. They Most of them seem, well, there's a lot of them that are directional with like a clear top at the top of the paper pad. And oh, Christina says she has these two paper pads too. Excellent. Yeah, I really didn't need more paper pads, as we all know. I mean, I've bought so many paper pads when I didn't need paper pads, but I thought they were really cute. And this one says there's glow-in-the-dark sheets inside. So, I don't know. Yeah, it looks blurry right now. You know, it could be my internet connection. Because I did take it, this is on my phone, but I didn't want it to like use my data, so I really don't know how it's gonna work. I don't know how I can make it clear. Hmm. Okay, well, I'm glad it's clear for some people because I agree. It's not, when I look at my screen, it does not seem clear. And I don't know if that will kind of fix itself over time or what. I really appreciate you guys just letting me like have this time to experiment with YouTube Live and see how it all works. It also could be that the camera's having trouble focusing because I'm moving the paper pads. So we'll see if that helps. Okay, so I saw somebody ask for the Boo paper pad, but if anybody else wants to kind of ring in on whether they'd like to see Boo or Golden Hour today, it's sort of fall autumn themed one, let me know. So we have Golden Hour, one vote, Boo, Golden Hour, another vote. Yeah, I'll give us a few more minutes. Again, thank you for showing up to my live, and sorry that it got switched to another video, but I'm still gonna do the same idea. We're gonna pick which paper pad to work with. We can maybe pick, I see definitely, I use StreamYard for lives. Oh, thank you, Mary, for letting me know. I'll see if I can figure that out too. It's just another technology to learn to use. Okay, a lot of Golden Hour. So let's use Golden Hour. And then I am going to use one of my 6x8 paper busting templates today. So let's pick a paper that would probably go well with one of those. Let's see, we have white background with the leaves. I think what's nice about a paper pad like the Golden Hour here is I think you could use craft cardstock with all of the, like as a mat for all of them, and it would probably look good. So I really like when I don't have to think too much about what my mats are going to be. I think all three of these are non-directional enough that we could make it work. Somebody said they love the squirrels though, so let's see. If there's any paper that's jumping out to you guys, let me know. I think that one looks like it would be challenging to use. It seems like there's a lot of sentiments on the back. I'm not sure what the thought is there. Maybe you were supposed to like cut them apart. So that might be an interesting one to work with in a different way. I also am a little bit hesitant with like large patterns like this because when you start cutting things up small, they don't always look good. And there's the hedgehogs. They're pretty directional. I think we'd have to pick a template that would be, like, wouldn't have very small pieces in order to make that work. This one also has a lot of sentiments on the pumpkins. That's an interesting choice they made there. Okay. Yeah, definitely golden hour. Okay, let's look at her. I love fall leaves for sure. Right. Do we want to work with the green / leaf paper? It's still blurry. That's so frustrating. I'm sorry, guys. Again, I will do some more research on lives in the future. And then, or we have this like flowers. I don't know if they're sunflowers. Sunflowers with the brown on the back, which I guess is kind of, the brown on the back is a little bit boring, but it is kind of like a burlap is the idea behind it. I'm gonna reach for some craft cardstock, although I like the leaves and sunflowers. Yes, those are different papers though. So we're gonna pick the sunflowers or the leaves. I'm gonna work with just one of them today. The green paper, okay. I apparently have very little craft cardstock left. That's interesting. I probably have another pack somewhere, hopefully. Well, maybe I see another vote for leaves. Get maybe a few more votes in here, and then I'll start pulling out a 6x8 paper basting template to work with. And looks clear to me. Good. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for everyone for showing up again. I see we have some increasing numbers here. A lot of leaves, a lot of green. Excellent. Okay. So let's pick out some paper busting template choices. And pick something that makes just 2 cards probably so we can keep it quick. I don't want something too simple. So I'm flipping through my paper busting template binder right now to find us something to work with. Okay. I don't want to spend too long on live because I feel like I don't really know what I'm doing and I'm pretty nervous right now, but I want to make a card with you guys. So we have paper busting template number 5 or number 9, and they both work with like a pretty large chunk of pattern paper as the focal point. You definitely could use cream cardstock instead of craft. I just don't know where I would find cream cardstock in my collection right now. It's not a color I use a lot, but that would look cute. Okay, so we're using the green paper. I think that will look fine because this is kind of a cream background, so it'll really stand off that. And I have enough to do these cards. I was just surprised I was running out because I like always keep a large stock of craft cardstock. Okay, thank you, Connie. I appreciate that. Okay, I see a vote for template number 9, another one for template number 9. Yes, you guys are being very friendly and kind considering how this is. And I don't know, I'm not, it's funny because I used to be an elementary school teacher and I never really got nervous talking in front of kids, but adults make me more nervous. So whatever that's worth. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of votes for template number 9. The thing that is interesting about template number 9 is when you cut this 1x4 strip, it is then turned on its side. So a directional pattern paper isn't ideal for this. Now, these leaves, I do think they're kind of generally the top of the leaves at the top of the paper. Like it's sort of directional, but not overly. But the green on the back certainly isn't. And that's why I like double-sided paper because it usually gives me some more options. So let's find our paper trimmer and get started. This paper pad has that little like, you know, strip at the top where they used to hang it off of. So we'll cut that off first. You can always put those on the inside of cards. This happens a lot and it's always a bummer when it does. This is definitely not exactly 8 inches because if I cut it to 8 inches, you can see there's that like little perforation still. So yeah, we're gonna have to like take another 1/8 of an inch off of it to cut the perforation off. Okay. What I usually do in that case, I try to think about like where I am okay with it being a little bit shorter. If I look at this sketch, I think it would be more noticeable if the 4-inch strips were a little too short because there's not much sticking out. Whereas if this 3x4 section were a little bit smaller, it wouldn't be a very big deal. It wouldn't be as noticeable on the final card. So we are going to cut our 1x4-inch strips more exactly to 1x4 inches. And then we're going to let our 3x4 panels be a tiny bit smaller because of the imperfections that exist in pretty much all pattern paper, but in this particular collection. Okay, so there's those 2 pieces, and then we'll cut our strips. As most of you know, I like to cut them like, oh, sorry, gotta make sure everything's in focus here. So I'll start with the 6x4. It's a little less than 4, and then I'll go to 5, 4, just kind of taking an inch off each time. That works a little bit faster for me personally, and then go to that 1 inch. Because if I go to measure it to 1 inch at a time, that takes me much longer. Okay, we're gonna start with some of our scraps of craft cardstock. So I have this large scrap here. We could first cut it to 4 1/4 and then cut the 1 1/4 inch strip. So because these are 4 by 1 inch, they need a 1 1/4 by 4 1/4 inch mat for the card. Thank you, Brenda. Yeah, I don't talk about it very often, but my nails are from a company called Lily and Fox, and they're basically just nail stickers. And so I put clear nail polish on top of them, but they're just little stickers that you put on your nail and then you can peel off. If you have particularly brittle nails, sometimes it can pull up your nail, but then if you put a little bit of oil underneath, it helps that. So just in case anyone was curious, a little more information about those. All right, so now we need 1 1/4. We have 11 inches to start with, and we'll measure back 1 1/4 each time. And I'm going to be a little bit quiet while I do some math in my head. Otherwise, I will definitely cut these down. We need 6 of them. How many is that? I think I already messed a measurement up. One more. No, we got them all. Okay. And then this is enough to get one of the 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 panels out of. So that's pretty perfect. I have very little cardstock waste so far. This doesn't look big enough for what we need. We're gonna have to chop into a whole new piece. That's okay. I will always use more craft cardstock. Hi, Pam. I would have not. Oh, did the reverse math? It used to be a lot harder to do that. But I've just really gotten used to cutting paper at this point. And most of you probably know at this point if you've come to this live, but I am teaching a class on Saturday about my paper busting templates as well. I'll be using 12 by 12 paper in that class. The card turns out a little bit similar, but you don't have to worry about the directionalness of the pattern paper. So that's nice. And Tiffany will also be teaching there. So if you want to share what your class is about as well, Tiffany, please feel free. I was happy I caught Tiffany live yesterday as well. So we decided to use the green side of the paper for the background strips because it was definitely non-directional. Honestly, looking at these, I think these would be great. You could totally use these as the strips. So maybe I'll switch it up because the other thing I have, because you guys know I can be a lazy crafter from time to time, is I have the ephemera that goes with it. And this, I know it's not really lazy, it's more like efficient, but I don't always want to color and stamp and cut things out, especially when I'm trying to be quick. What trimmer is that? Yeah, I do not like getting my paper cut. A local, a big box office supply store cut mine wrong as well. That is a swing line guillotine trimmer. So, Yeah, we have some choices. We're going to need 2 cut-aparts. I think depending on what cut-aparts we pick would actually determine which side of the paper we would use. Because like say we really wanted to use this sunflower. If we used it on here, it's not really going to stand out. Hi, Laura. I'm glad that it did pop into your feed then. Yeah, Tiffany and I are teaching at the Stress-Free Card Making Summit. I think I can put a link for you guys. I'll be off screen for just a moment. Pull that up for anybody who hasn't seen it, and then that way people can find it. I think I can pin things too. I don't really know how that works. So yeah, I'll spread out some of these cut aparts so you guys can kind of take a look and see if anything jumps out to you while I grab that link. When I first set up the live, the link was in it. Ooh, there's the squirrel that Christina likes. So maybe we should use one of the squirrel for Christina. Okay. I see there's like a lot of pumpkins. So we could easily do 2 pumpkins. We could stack some pumpkins together. Okay. Found that link for you guys just in case. Oh, it says my link is too big. Give me a minute here. All right. And then that is an affiliate link. Like if you decide to purchase a larger ticket, I would earn a commission on that. So I just really like to be super, super clear about any of that. Yes. So yeah, Tiffany and I are both teaching on Saturday. That's awesome. Will you be doing a live, Tiffany, like a Q&A live? And you guys feel free to ask me any questions in the comments. I can see them. So, if I scroll up, the circle with the leaves, hello autumn. Yeah, I like if the sentiments included. That would make it super easy, wouldn't it? Color me autumn. Sometimes I get confused by the sentiments they choose. When the clock strikes midnight, pumpkin everything. I mean, I guess this is for scrapbooking because they do have a 12 by 12 version of the paper. 2:30 Pacific time for Tiffany. Color Me Autumn also works. Color Me Autumn tag. Hello Autumn. I mean, that certainly could work. And it really matches the pattern paper. And maybe I would layer it up on something. Flannel, falling leaves, bonfires, bring on fall. But like when they make a 6x8 paper pad, I'm like, clearly that was designed for card makers. So, let's think about some sentiments that they want as well. Oh, Tiffany says she doesn't see the link. It was a comment. I said as a comment. I don't know if you can click those. I don't know how live works for sure. I bet you I can well, maybe I can't because I'm signed into the wrong YouTube. That's probably the problem because I have 2 different internet browsers. Oh, here we go. Oh, so here we go. Switched it up. Sorry about this, guys. Again, super new to live. I really appreciate your patience. Okay. So, yes. 2 different versions of me on YouTube, but they're all pumpkin. I had a squirrel in my garden, so I'm not happy with squirrels right now. I hear that. A friend of mine was talking about how she grew pumpkins and I think only like the person who's doing the live can post links, maybe. That's why it didn't work. And there was technically another YouTube account. So there we go. Thank you, Tiffany, for helping me figure that out. Okay. Yeah, so a friend of mine was talking about how a squirrel ate all her pumpkins, and then at the pumpkin patch, she didn't want to buy any more pumpkins because she was convinced if she put them out on her porch, the squirrels would eat them. And I was kind of surprised by that because we have squirrels in our neighborhood in our backyard all the time and they've never touched our pumpkins. So I don't know, maybe her squirrels just have a real hankering for pumpkins. Whatever spices your pumpkin. I think that one's funny. I think my sister would like that. I could make that card for her. This is me. I think I love fall most of all. I am a fall baby. Like I was born in the fall and I love it. So that's why I'm addicted to Halloween. Okay. So whatever spices your pumpkin, that's funny. Some people ask for the Hello Autumn, I think, or the Color Me Autumn tag. Hedgehog. We have squirrel friends when we go camping, but they can stay there. Yeah. Okay, so let's go with Hello Autumn and whatever spices your pumpkin. I don't think this is like a miscut, but I think that's an interesting choice that it has that little divot in there. I might decide to cover it up and put some extra pumpkins on it. Let's move some stuff out of the way. We could certainly, again, pick something else and do some stamping on top of it. We just had a call for the hedgehog and the squirrel, so let's see if we can make at least one of them work. Okay. I sometimes do a little bit more of this thinking ahead of time before I hit record on a video, so you don't have to hear me think through all of this. But I'm happy to be crafting with you guys and to get some help on making these decisions. If I choose this Hello Autumn tag, I don't think I want to put it on the leaf paper because it doesn't really stand out, even if I put the red behind it. Steal your pack of hot dog buns. Oh, I believe it. Yeah. And yeah, it still doesn't stand out enough. I much prefer it on the green. So then let's test out our other. And the other thing you could do with this sketch is we could turn one on its side. So if we want to make one of the sketches horizontal and one vertical, that could also work. And that's the other way to kind of adjust for if the pattern you wanted to be the stripes, for instance, was directional, you could then just make your card horizontal and that will work. Okay. You or moderators can post links. Thank you, Mary. Mary knows about this, so I'm glad to have someone who knows what they're talking about because I'm learning a lot from it. Okay, so squirrel, or no, hedgehog. And again, I think the hedgehog would need the green side of the paper because then he stands out a lot more. We could ink around him though. I don't necessarily think to pull up my inks. Tiffany is fantastic with inks though. Maybe we would add a sentiment with him. I did like the whatever spices your pumpkin, so maybe we can incorporate both. Ooh, that's kind of cute. Maybe another one to go with it though, because I tend to like things when there's 3 of them. So we could put the pumpkin behind him, although we're covering it up quite a lot. I actually picked up an extra pack of this ephemera because I wasn't sure if I'd find it in store. So I can use lots of them without feeling worried about it at all. Okay. So we could just add another one of that same similar pumpkin, and it makes it look like he's kind of going through a pumpkin patch. And we'll test it on both sides. I think I probably will like it on the green side better, but let's make sure. Yeah, I like it on the green. So, all right, let's get to finishing this up. So I'm gonna add my ATG behind it, which is probably pretty loud on camera. I wonder, because that's one of the things that's not my favorite about it. It's like a surprisingly loud thing to use. And I know some people don't like it because, oh, I just put adhesive on the wrong side. Luckily, one of the things I like about my ATG, because I don't love everything about it, but I can just rub the glue right off. And so I did not ruin it at all. I have these little like glue bits that we'll have to wrestle to get off the card, or like off my work surface and not get stuck to something. But I can just rub that glue right off without damaging the card. I do use, like, it's not the scrapbooking quality, it's not acid free, and it's from Tape Jungle. I think they're in all of my video descriptions, there should be a coupon code to Tape Jungle because it's where I've bought them for a few years. I reached out to them and asked them, I was like, you know, I use my ATG all the time, so would you guys want to give my audience a coupon code? And they very graciously agreed. So if you didn't know, that was in there. Okay, put the ephemera on it. Yep, we will do that. Oh yeah, like on top of the glue. Yeah, generally that would have worked, but there would be some extra glue at the top. But I like that idea. That could have saved us adhesive didn't come right off the edge. Okay. And then usually, like in the instance of when I'm like mass assembling cards, and I know I've mentioned this plenty of times in the past, I'll like line them all up so that I can make them quickly. And there's a few more over here. Oh, like the Scotch ATG looks like it's really big and hard to use on small things. Kind of, actually. I think like if you're trying to put like a very small, maybe half-inch piece of adhesive, it is kind of tricky to do that, but I do think that's true like with any tape runner because it needs to roll in order to get the adhesive off. So if you're only trying to put down a tiny bit of adhesive, I would generally recommend glue. But in terms of like small strips, also if you're trying to glue something like, or trying to adhere something really thin, the ATG tape is a 1/4 inch thick. So if you're trying to glue something that's like an 1/8 inch thick, then that's going to be problematic. Just eyeballing whether everything is even. It's never perfect, and that's okay because these are handmade cards, not manufactured cards. And manufactured things aren't usually perfect anyway. And also, I mean, a lot of manufactured things are actually, you know, somebody working in a factory making it by hand too. So, okay. Not like, I mean, I'm sure these are like cut out by a machine, but I think of those like felt shapes that you get at the Dollar Tree and Michael's, and they're always imperfect, and they don't worry about it. So why do I drive myself nuts? Okay. It seems to lift up easily. I agree, but like, I guess I'll show you if I just were trying to put down a small amount. Like when I try to lift it up, it leaves like a little bit kind of hanging off. You kind of do press it down easily. I don't know if this is showing up, but it's kind of hard to be precise with it. So just something to think about. I generally prefer it because even though it's really large, so like getting it is a lot of plastic, compared to any of the like even refillable small adhesive runners, I think it's less wasteful as long as you like it, you know, once, and because then when you're done with it, it's only this ring here. And then of course the tape, but the tape would be there regardless if you were using like those small runners too, the same thing. So there's not much you're throwing out each time. Okay, I do have card bases somewhere on my tape. Oh no, I left them in here because I have like this little box that I keep pre-made card bases, envelopes, like watercolor paper cut. I know a lot of crafters do that. Highly recommend it because I do not like having to stop when I'm in the middle of a project to make a card base. So we're gonna head back to the sketch in case anybody is wondering what we've been doing. I'm seeing if I missed any questions. I don't think so. Okay, so the sketch shows us putting the stripes a little bit from the edge. And if you have a mat underneath, sometimes the grid lines can help you to make sure that it's a little bit more even on the top and bottom. I don't worry too much about that, but there's also usually like a center line if I were to actually center it on the grid given to me. Because this scrapbook.com mat has the outline of an A2 size card. Okay. And then sometimes, especially if if there's more than a couple of stripes, what I will often do is line up the second card with the first card instead of trying to line them up with the grid mat, just because I'm figuring like if I'm happy with the way it turned out the first time, it's a little bit easier for me personally, but to each their own. Okay, and then that in the center. Often you need to trim a little bit of, like, there's sometimes a tiny bit of extra there. So, nope. All of the templates are available. I can, on jesscrafts.com, I could try to find a link to this one relatively quickly, but if you go to jesscrafts.com, at the top it says templates and sketches. You go to 6x8 paper busters because we are using 6x8 paper today. So that is what we're using at the moment. I'll show you that while I grab the link here for you. My patrons get early access to the templates, and they get like direct links to the templates, so they don't have to sign up with the email or anything like that. They get some like packs of templates, because if you don't want to download all the templates individually, I sell them as like a larger PDF. So instead of getting each one like as an individual file, you could get one file that has many pages to it. And you can get those on Etsy, but also my $5 patrons get some of those templates. So, okay. Then we will stick our green focal panels here. The template that comes with the class this weekend, you do have to get the link from the class, but even if you're signed up for like the free version, you do get the link. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Brenda. Okay. Oh, we want to do one of these as a horizontal card, which makes no difference at this point because we just turn one on its side. So we'll do one each way. That's something that like, I don't usually try to include two sketches, because if I then try to put like the vertical and horizontal version on the same piece of paper, I'd have to make everything so small. So I hear that, Brenda, because I actually have 3 1-inch binders at this point to hold all of my templates. I thought about getting like a really large one, but then they kind of sag. So I have one binder just for my 6x6 and 6x8. And then I had to get like another binder for 12x12, 8x8, and 8.5x11. So yeah, there's a lot of binders around the craft room. Okay. So I think what I'll want to do is pop some of these up, probably like the topmost layer, which in one case is going to be the hedgehog. And since it says whatever spices your pumpkin, do we have any pumpkin spice fans? I don't love flavored coffee very much. Like, I'll put sugar in my coffee, but like I don't put a lot of flavors in it. So like I do have a little bit of pumpkin spice creamer, in part because it feels like what you're supposed to drink. Like, oh, it's like you're supposed to have some pumpkin in your life in the fall, but I find I have a couple of coffees with it and I'm like, I'm kind of over this. And the Starbucks stuff, I mean, that's just too sweet for me. So I can add an extra amount of pattern, because I was like, ooh, this one was kind of looking a little plain to me. I wish there were more, like the elements were a little bit smaller, but again, it has a 12x12. Ooh, pumpkin bread. Yes. A coffee shop around here makes a gluten-free pumpkin bread, and I really like that because I can't have gluten. And so a lot of those treats I can't have. And so then having that option, I really like it. But I only get like 1 or 2 pieces every year. But it is tasty. So I like the idea of more pattern, but then this orange and green feel a little busy next to each other. But I think if I'm going to cover enough of it, it'll be okay. I think that adds a lot of interest. So we're just going to do it. It's not ideal, but and I've talked about this before, I sometimes have the problem of like, I will get ephemera to go with the paper pad, which I did in this instance, and it's 30 pieces. And the paper pad itself, now I'm curious, is 36 sheets. So if I made 2 cards out of each sheet, which I could easily do, I could do more than that, but I wouldn't even get enough pieces of ephemera to put 1 on each card. But yet somehow I have gotten to the point where I've used a paper pad and still had ephemera left so many times. Taste buds must change because you can't stomach it this year. Yeah, I get that. I mean, also, like, I have found a lot of things, if I just ask them to, like, use half of whatever sweetener they want to put things, it tastes better. Pumpkin pie, bread. Oh, yes. Homemade pumpkin pie Yes. I don't care so much for all the like artificially flavored stuff, but homemade pumpkin pie is so good. Okay. Gluten-free treats. Yeah. That's kind of you, Christina. Okay, I'm gonna make my own foam tape here rather than getting out some foam tape because I have this scrap of um, craft cardstock that I created earlier in the card making process, and so I don't want to have it like left over. Like I don't know when I would use a piece this thin. It's like 3/4 of an inch. I'm not going to use that for a mat very often. I will occasionally. Wait, is it more than 3/4 of an inch? It's about an inch. Sorry. So occasionally I would use something that size for a mat, but not very often. So I'm just going to get rid of it right now and turn it into foam tape. Here's our hedgehog and our Hello Autumn pumpkin, or squirrel, get out of the way. Squirrel's in the way again. Eating our pumpkins, stealing our hot dog buns, and trying to get on our cards, apparently. Okay. And then so I just glued 2 pieces of the scrap cardstock together, and I did put adhesive all the way along it. You definitely didn't have to do that. I just wasn't thinking. And you would only need to put it on one of the 2 sheets, then put them together, and then I'll place that on the back. I like this because it's relatively thin. I can usually get like a good coverage with it, whereas if I'm using like thin foam tape, I might have to put a lot on there. So, and then we are pretty much done with our 2 cards. We'll put those 2 on there. I liked all those extra layers of ephemera. I think it was totally worth it. But I guess if you're gonna go buy the Park Lane Golden Hour, they are like I think everything the fall and Halloween stuff is half off right now. So the little ephemera packs came to I think they were like $1.40 or something where I picked them up. I would probably suggest getting a couple because they do look really cute when you're able to layer on a few, but there's a lot more paper than there are ephemera. And then there was a couple of Halloween collections. I picked the Boo collection, and I think I'll run through the paper pads again real quick, just in case anybody signed on after I started, because there was only a few of us when I first started because I didn't know what I was doing. So thank you again to everyone who stuck through that. And then the Boo paper pad. It's supposed to have some glow in the dark elements. I think these cats have some texture, so I think they're supposed to glow in the dark. Park Lane is from Joann Fabric and Crafts. So not all Joann stores carry their paper. It also has some like foiled elements. I don't know what Joann's policy on providing coupon codes is. I don't mind. I think the Joann's website, these look like they might be glow in the dark too. Yeah, they have like a texture to them, so I bet these ghosts glow in the dark. But there are coupons on the Joann website, so definitely check those out. Wasn't able to add any additional coupons to this to them because they were on sale. Like none of the coupons that were out at the time seemed relevant. So, and then there was several other Halloween paper pads. That was the cutest one, and I pick cutesy Halloween paper pads because a lot of organizations that I donate cards to ask for you to not include some spooky images, but even still, like that had ghosts, that had skull and crossbones, all that. So there are certain papers I maybe won't use if I'm going to donate the cards. But yeah, there was some more like creepy themed ones as well. And then this is the ephemera pack, and each Halloween paper pad came with its own coordinating ephemera. So they'll like the colors will match perfectly. It does not say that the ephemera is glow in the dark, but it does have a shine to it, which the fall paper pad and ephemera does not have the same shine. So just as if anyone's curious about how they look. That was our other choice today. Okay, and we're pretty much wrapping it up. So if you have any other questions before we go, please let me know. I am looking out for any questions? I don't think we have any more. So thank you everyone for stopping by and helping me to learn how to use YouTube Live. I am excited to see you all at the Stress Free Card Making Summit this Saturday. I will also be doing a live Q&A there. So if you have any questions about the projects that I'm doing at the summit, or just in general about, favorite tools and supplies or all that, the link is in the chat. It'll also be in the video description later. I think I can add that. The link for this template so that you can make these paper busting cards is also earlier in the chat. Thank you again so much for joining me and helping me learn, and I will see you all very soon. Bye. I don't think I know how to end a live.